All right, so today we're going to fix a problem that's been bugging me for a couple of years. I put Petronix in my car and the tach is always read double from what the RPM is supposed to be, or what I assume it is. So I did some research and I think I figured out the problem. I'm going to take you through what I assume is going to fix it, and we'll see if it did. So I know that lots of tachs have different mounting brackets, and this is how mine mounts. It mounts to the dash back here with a couple of bolts that go through, and you have to access the nut part on the underside. So again, that's mine. So I've seen them mounted everywhere else, steering column, down here, wherever. All right, so I had to remove this part of the dash, which is a treat. I had to remove this air duct and this vent. So I took that off, like that. And took this vent down. Here we go. And remove the two nuts. And there we go. You can see the two studs maybe. All right, let's go out in the light. All right, much better. So here we go. This is what the cover looks like, or the housing. It's got two studs that go through the dash in the back here. And on the inside, because I've already taken this all apart, it's got a couple of blades, if you want to call them that hook onto, where are we here? See that stud there? Goes through this, and this goes to the outside to just sort of secure your tach into the housing. And then there's just some little thumb nuts. So there's no head on it, it's just knurled on the side there. So you can tighten them, and that's what holds it in place in the housing. And the housing obviously is held in with this stud and this stud with a couple of bolts, with a couple of nuts, I mean. And there's a couple lights. So there was a light for the illumination of the whole tach, and this one, which is your ignition light, which is a screw-in bulb. I did check that with my meter. So set it to resistance, checked here to there. So what I'm checking is to make sure that there's some kind of resistance from that bulb, and that tells me that it's good. And the resistance should be fairly low, like 6 ohms or something like that. All right, so let's take this off of there. 2 hands, there we go. So, put that there. Now, originally, this wire went through, see how it goes through this pickup, we'll call it, which I think it is. It's an inductive pickup. So it went through twice. So it looped, and then it did another tight loop like this, and went through once again through here. And now it only loops through once, and I've put just a chunk of wire just below that. The reason for the chunk of wire is to take up the gap and make sure that this is tight. So essentially what I've done is I've taken out a loop from this pickup. Now we're going to hook it up and give it a test. So here we go, 1275. Not much to do out here really, but we are going to run it. So I'm going to open up the hood, open up the door, and let's hear it run. Okay, so we'll start it up. It hasn't been started in a couple months, so it might not start right away. Got to pull the choke on, get it to set. Right about there. You'll hear a couple clicks of the electric fuel pump. Oh yeah, it's fuel pressure. And what we want to see is the rate RPM on that Tach. Let's fire it up. Choke in. Of course. Put the choke back out. Set a little high, but before I was reading 3,000 RPM. Definitely a big difference. Nice. So I might as well let it get up to temperature. It hasn't been running a couple of months, and it won't be running another few months. Sounds good though. So I got this mounted back in. I did pay attention to make sure this was straight up and down because it would annoy me while I'm driving. It was on an angle. If you have trouble with these screws, this is all I do. Ratchet wrench, 1/4 inch, and just a Phillips bit. And it gets in this tight little area. So anyway, we'll get those two back in. And in the spring, we'll take it for a drive. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe.